What's going on, everyone? It's the Career Coach here. Today we are actually going to be focusing on how to build your perfect resume. Now I know this comes as a shocker for many of you because I typically will only go over a resume in an actual coaching session, but because I've had so many people reach out to me, had so many requests to go ahead and talk a little bit about it, I wanted to build the fundamentals of what you're looking for in a resume that will help you stand out initially. And then if you would like some more information or to go more in depth, let's schedule a career coaching session. So for this time only, let's get into it. When it comes to building an effective resume, it really takes 5 main elements to the resume to actually make it stand out. The first is simply your title. When I see a candidate's name come across my desk, that is a huge selling point. That is the first thing that any recruiter will actually see. So I always recommend to my candidates and my clients, the first thing you want to do is choose a font that effectively and clearly states your name, but also is unique and is not the Times New Roman 12-point font or 40-point font that everyone else is using, right? The black and white is done. Those days are over. There are so many people that have used and abused that, and I think it's about time that we start evolving into resumes that really do effectively have a little bit more zing to them, add a little bit more flavor and taste as to your character. Choose your favorite color and put that as your last name as well. So actually the coloration between your first name and your last name makes a huge difference in being able to stand out to me as a recruiter. Step number 2 is really creating a professional summary statement. Again, I will preface, this is a statement, not a paragraph. A lot of people have a misconception that on their resume there needs to be 3 to 4 lines of explaining who they are. One thing I've learned as a professional, keep that short, sweet, and simple, okay? When you're building your resume, recruiters see resumes thousands upon thousands every single day, if not every single week. It just depends on the type of recruiter we're talking about. But you have to create an effective statement that communicates 3 things. 1, what you're looking for. 2, who you are. And 3, how your skill set apply to the company that you are applying for. Essentially, when a recruiter looks at that statement, it's going to give a general overview of what is to come, right? So for me personally, I'm an ambitious, active, and self-motivated recruiter seeking to honor company ethics and preserve morality through fundamentally changing the way we recruit. That's just an example. Maybe not 100% of what I actually have on my personal resume, but you get the idea. It gives you a chance to really set yourself above and beyond all the competition out there, and I think every single one of you want to. I know I do. The third piece of the puzzle is quite simply focusing on your skill sets. And when I say skill sets, I mean 3 to 4 bullet points of skills or things that you've accomplished or learned, whether they be specific softwares or programs or your time management skills, Microsoft, PowerPoint, little things like that. Putting that in a column or in a couple of bullet points underneath your summary statement is going to be huge. Why? Because recruiters like to see that you can get straight to the point in your skills and saying, hey, these are the type of things that you are looking for. And I'll add a caveat to that. A lot of recruiters actually use keyword searching when they go on LinkedIn, they go on Indeed, and they are looking for your skills. So make sure for the job descriptions that you're looking up that you're integrating that into your skill set if you have those specific skills. And then if not, try to find ways throughout the rest of your resume to incorporate those keyword searches for your discipline. Now we get into the fun part. This is really your education, your upbringing, how you learned. So a lot of people will post on their resume that they went to X college and graduated at this time. They were involved in all these different activities and groups underneath it. That's okay. The one thing I would say is making sure that their they're timely, they're accurate with the times that you were actually there on the campus, and showing that if you went to another college besides the one that you graduated from, still list that on your resume. I know we always stick to the standard of having only a one-pager for a resume, but I would still make sure that you have all the skills that you've attended. Most recruiters and most people that are professionals out there have attended one or more colleges, believe it or not. So having that opportunity to identify with a larger populace of individuals in a job seeker market is critical. So make sure you remember that piece. Another key element of your resume is actually getting more into the specifics of your experience. So this is going to be the bulk. This is going to be that big chunk in the middle of your resume that's taking up most of the space. So there's a couple things I will tell you. The first is being focused on the actual company that you worked for prior before your actual title. The reason I say that is because brand recognition is fundamental in your success in being able to find your place in a job opportunity. When I have a candidate that has been with several Fortune 100 and 500 companies, and that's clearly listed out on their resume, guess who's gonna actually get my attention? They will. At the end of the day, the job title is a job title. I think it's still important, but really focusing on the companies and building that brand recognition. If you just so happen not to have worked for very reputable companies, then pick and choose where you would like to place the job title and the company, but make sure it's consistent with the rest of your resume and your experience levels. Also, when you're creating your summaries underneath each individual experience, you want to have 5 to 4 bullet points in the first or most recent experience that you've had, and then in the second latest, you want to have about 3 to 4 bullet points, and then 2 to 3 in the last. The reason I tell you this is because many people will put 7 to 8 bullet points for every single job position they've had, or they'll put too little. They'll have 3 or 4, and they'll be inconsistent. It should flow and find a natural source of legibility, if you will. Because when someone is reading that resume, they want to see that your most recent experience is the one that you got the most out of. And then your latest or middle piece of that resume and your experience level should still have been a good learning experience. You know, pick and choose your words carefully when you're actually building those summary statements. And then your last should be at least 2 or 3 years away from where you're at right now or prior. I'd say that because many people will think to themselves, well, if that position felt more prestigious, then shouldn't I put more bullets? Not necessarily. So be careful with that. One thing I'll add here, guys, really fast, for your resume, make sure that the locations are incredibly accurate. I am talking about if you're in Cincinnati working, be specific. Me personally, my office is in Westchester, so on my resume, it should reflect Westchester. Anyone that's from Cincinnati will love to see those little finite details of where you're from, because the more relatable you can be with the person that's reading your resume is only going to help your case for why you need to be in their company. So just a side thought. Now we get on to the volunteer experience and the awards. A lot of people will make themselves seem like they are more than they really are. Our culture is one that tries to over-present ourselves. So whenever you're talking about volunteer experience, make sure it's with reputable volunteer organizations like the YMCA, City Gospel Mission, Habitat for Humanity. There are so many ways for you to get actively involved. I would encourage you as a career coach and as someone that has personally been there and done that, when it comes to building your professional experience, make sure you're going out and serving this community. Cincinnati is a beautiful city. There is so much opportunity to pull together and actually make a difference in this community. And even if you're not from Cincinnati and you're watching this video, there are so many opportunities to get involved in your local communities. I would challenge you and encourage you to go out there and make an impact and make a difference. When it comes to the awards piece, really only focus on the things that you've received in current professional professional working experience. Many people won't have a lot of awards that they can brag about. If you've been in sales, then you might have received a sales award, or if you're a manager of the year. I always think of Michael Scott, world's greatest boss. That really doesn't count, sorry. Love Michael Scott, but not really a fit for this scenario. But making sure that you actually have legitimate awards and you have either pictures of them, or you have a plaque or something that you can show you actually won them, is key. Employers want to know that what you're telling them is true and is wholesome. And I don't blame them, because I'm one of those employers. I want my candidates to be honest and truthful in the way that they're presenting themselves. You would think that these things are simplistic, you would think that they're given, but really, honestly, they're not. I've actually had a couple of candidates recently in just the last couple of weeks that didn't really receive all the recognition and awards that they had placed on their resume. So be careful to all my recruiter friends out there. There are people that are really not presenting themselves 100% the way that they really are. So my caution to you. Last thing that I would tell anyone that's looking to really make their resume stand out is 2 little pieces at the bottom of your resume. 1, a URL link to your LinkedIn account. Side note here, if your LinkedIn profile is not synonymous with what's on your resume, recruiters pay attention to that. Oh yeah, we look for that stuff. And we also check grammar, which is the second piece. After looking through the entirety of your resume and seeing all the bits and pieces of your experience, we go back and we see and we circle all the little spelling errors, or we make a mental note of those. If I see more than 3 or 4 spelling errors or grammatical errors, then the resume, I don't pay attention to it, quite frankly. I know we all make mistakes, but the reality is that if you're looking for that top tier position in a company, or even if it's entry level, whatever position you're looking for, the way you're presenting yourself on that piece of paper should be a reflection of you and who you are and how you're gonna bring a high level of professionalism into the workforce. So those are my thoughts for the time being. I know this was definitely a shorter video. I really love talking about resumes. There's so much that we could go into depth on. Just because I can't give you all the information right now doesn't mean I don't want to. So I would encourage you to reach out to me with any personal or professional questions that you might have. As a professional career coach, I'm here to serve you and this community. I love Cincinnati. I think I've said that many a times. I think you guys know that about me by now, if you don't know me personally. There's just such a great opportunity here to invest in you and to really show the best version of yourself on that resume. I don't believe that's the end-all means to being recruited into a company. Really having a holistic approach in the way that you're presenting yourself and building your brand recognition is so fundamental. So in future videos, I'll definitely talk about how to integrate your LinkedIn account with your resume, as well as how we can build your brand on social media and your presence out there as a business professional. I've actually coached a couple people on that in some career coaching sessions. So if you're interested, certainly reach out. But for the time being, I hope this video was certainly a blessing to you, and this will help you get a kickstart on building that next level resume. So take care, guys.